Film Review. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, everybody.
And tonight we'll be reviewing sort of an interesting movie, in fact.
It's a comedy horror, isn't it?
Yes, I would say it is.
Well, that's what everyone else says this.
Yes, and it's called The Love Witch, which was done in 2016. So don't get confused if you think it's has a 60-ish
No, we'll explain a bit of that later on. But yeah, it's a bit like a tribute film, not quite a tribute, but it's made in a 60s style to, but I suppose a bit of a tribute to that period. And so they did the filming style and some of the the sets and clothing and that sort of stuff were based on 60s, even though that's been done in today. It's a bit an interesting style, would you say?
I would say so. I mean, you don't see too many of that. Well, people try to make it look like the olden days, but they don't put that much effort into it.
It doesn't always work. Actually, can I just say one thing, though? Yes. A couple things. I mean, this is an independent.
Yes.
Now, I was going to read through this. This is one of the reasons why we are reviewing it. Produced by Anna Biller. Directed by Anna Biller. Written by Anna Biller. Music by Anna Biller. Edited by Anna Biller. Production company, Anna Biller Productions.
And if you're wondering about the costumes, guess who made those?
Anna Biller. Now, who said you can't do it all? Now,
yes.
I will say one thing, though. We don't know what the budget was, and the box office isn't a great indicator because it only had a limited screening. Obviously, probably art house or something rather. It didn't hit mainstream, probably. I don't know, but can't find enough information out. But had a very limited release, so no one knew about it. So, hence, we are going to review it, aren't we?
Yep.
So, what do you want? Do you take over now and do your magic?
Who stars in this, Mike?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's not a huge cast, but the main ones are Samantha Robinson plays Elaine Parks. She's our main lead lady who happens to be a witch.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, she's the guy candy in this.
The eye candy.
Eye candy.
Yeah, eye candy. She's a very attractive lady. Yeah, we'll go on that in a minute.
Although there's going to be a lot of eye candy in this movie.
There's some eye candy. Now, I will actually say something before I go on the rest of the cast. For those of you who... there's a bit of nudity, male and female, in this movie. Of course, it's based around the witch's coven, and they did actually
Coven.
Coven, whatever, whichever country you're from, it's coven or coven. And the problem is that in some of those scenes, they're actually doing it. You would expect the witch's coven to do it naked, so you will see a bit of nudity in it. So I don't believe in nudity. It was just thrown in for gratuity sort of stuff, but it's part of the story, so it belongs in the story.
Yeah. If it's going for that 60 look, where
60s
they kind of went all
they did
out when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah, they weren't as inhibited as we are today. Anyway, irrespective of that case, I said Samantha Robinson. Now, there's a guy called, I think it's Jan Keys, Gian, I don't know if it's the right pronunciation. He plays a detective by the name of Griff Meadows. He becomes a major sort of love interest of our little witch friend.
Yeah.
I can go through the other people. I won't say who they are, but there's a Laura Waddell, a Robert Seeley, Jeffrey Vincent Paris, Parise, Jennifer Ingram, Jared Sandford. I won't go on the others because others are of lesser importance, but they're the main actors, and I think they do a good job at playing their trade.
It captures that sort of thing, as we often said.
And this was actually done in a 60s style.
Yeah, except for the cars and the mobile phones.
No, forget the cars.
Which didn't exist until much later on.
I'm talking about the acting. They tried to capture the same sort of... if any of you watch the old 60s and early 70s movies, you had the hippie era type thing, and a lot of these sort of weird movies are coming out, and whatever they were, and the acting style was a bit different. The lighting was a bit more stark. So they've tried to capture that, and I think they've done pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway,
so
you want to talk about the movie?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, where
so
you go?
we dive into the story, and Elena, what's the name of the lead?
Elaine Parks, the
Elaine
witch.
Parks is driving along in her car of sorts. And- Yeah, and just mooning over the fact her boyfriend left her, yama yama yama, even though half the time we may not believe it.
Her boyfriend died though, didn't he?
Yeah, died or left.
Well, no, he means he's left. He left, but he actually died, and something will come out later on. We won't talk about now.
Yes. So anyway, she eventually arrives in this small town it's habited with bit of witches and ordinary people.
Ordinary town folk.
And of course, witches are well, it's not really important to talk about.
Well, the local town folks don't particularly like witches. They put up with them, but don't really like them.
And we pull up to her new digs, which is a vintage Victorian type house.
Yeah, like an American carpenter gothic sort of place. Really nice. The Addams Family, and everybody would really love it.
I suppose that's the appeal.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we come to her room, and it's decorated with some interesting art that makes me think of tarot cards.
I think it was based on tarot cards and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually, she befriends the local girl who lives there too,
She's a decorator.
Yeah, the decorator, and as it turns out, her costumes are more conservative, if that's the word.
Well, what 60s would be.
Yeah, like
a normal 60s, not a hippie or out and about flamboyant sort of person. Just a nice and conservative lady.
Yes, and our eye candy in this, she wears the mini skirts, the high heels, the
color coordinated, everything. She really looks a piece.
Attachable hair.
Hair extension, but she looks so. Yeah, I think she's well chosen. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, and she wears some awesome eyeliner, like something very strong, like something Elvira would probably wear. No.
Not as bad as Elvira.
Maybe not as bad.
No, not as good as Elvira.
Yeah.
How do you put it? Cassandra, I love you.
Yeah, just so you guys know, she and Elvira, they have something similar in common. Like, they make me think of the confident, strong women when I think about this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Who are not afraid to take control of the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is the whole point of the story. What's her name again? I keep forgetting. Elaine is all about witchcraft, and she loves using love magic on
any unsuspecting male.
Yeah, no matter if it's a guy who's already married or a guy who's already has a girlfriend, she just goes after him like that.
Well, that's it. If in doubt, check them out.
Quite right.
Whatever.
So Elaine starts dating a teacher at one point. Or not dating. It's more like
she hooks up with him.
Yeah, she hooks up with him. He takes her to a nice cabin or whatever in the woods.
Hey, that's a good name for movie, isn't it?
They start having a bit of rumpty bumpty.
Yeah,
and it does go directly to interesting.
Just don't get it. They have sex and everything, have a wonderful time, but she slips some in his drink, an hallucinogenic drug, along with and some other things to make him love her, I suppose. Yeah, like emotionally love her.
Yeah, he gets all. We go on a bit of a journey in that scene where it makes it look like something out of a Space Odyssey type thing. Where if you're on high drugs or something.
He was off his tits.
And we get to watch it from the audience perspective, seeing it through his eyes.
He was done. He was hallucinogenic drugs. Something weed. Wasn't it devil's weed or something?
Devil's weed. I think it was. That's what the detective says much later.
And it can be fatal too, which we soon find out.
Yeah. Eventually, he gets all wimpy-eyed after the sex and stuff, and starts being a bit needy and clingy and stuff like that. And soon enough, he slowly dies from the devil weed.
Yeah, it's been about 24 hours or so. He has a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Whoops.
Yes, and of course she buries him in an unlicensed grave.
An unmarked grave where his cabin is.
Yeah.
However, she didn't hide it very well, did she?
No, she could have dug it deeper, but then again.
Yeah.
So anyway, she heads back into town and starts making her next moves on the next available guy.
Which was Trish's husband, wasn't it? Trish's
Yes.
husband, Richard.
Yeah. See, Trish, she's out of town at a furnishing convention thing.
Yeah. Trish is a decorating lady I mentioned before. Yeah.
So she's out of town. So he's left all alone and looking for a bit of action.
So Witchy Poo invites Mer for dinner and a bit of you know what, but
yes.
But I don't think she started off that way with him though. She really ignored him in the beginning, and then maybe she thought, well, I'll give him a go. Nothing new on the horizon, so all's fair in love and rumpty bumpty, I suppose. Yeah.
Quite right. So anyway, eventually they don't exactly do it, but there was a scene where she's doing a sexy dance for him.
She's so good at it.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, it goes pretty well, and it gets interesting there.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, just like the first man, he ends up getting obsessive and needy and stuff like that.
And she rejects him and says, I don't want to continue this anymore. And over the next few days, week, whatever, he hits his sauce a bit too much. He gets drunk and alcoholic poisoning, and
he slit his wrists.
Yeah, in the bathtub. Why did he wake up in the bath or slit the wrists? Why don't you do it in a nice comfy lounge chair?
I don't know.
Or something
I think it has something to do with I don't know, being in water makes you. I don't know.
Hey, that's one thing I noticed.
What?
He slit his wrist, right? And he's supposed to have obviously bled to death. There's no blood in the water in the bathtub. There's only a little puddle under his left arm dangling out of the bathtub. Where'd all the blood go? Aha! They made a mistake.
Yes. So anyway, she then. The police are still on her trail, and they're trying to piece together what's going on. They soon find out it's witches, and then they find some evidence, or maybe not evidence, just something that might criminate our love witch. Yeah, sort of a witch bottle or a love.
Yeah, there's a witch bottle. It was buried.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what was in it. It's too gross.
Well, it's a witch bottle. Let's leave it at that. If you watch the movie, you'll find out soon enough.
So he connects it to a witch shop that's not too far from the town.
So it's in the town.
Yeah, in the town. And she gives him a name of where she got the stuff from.
Yeah, Elaine's been supplying stuff to the shop to sell, so it makes a few dollars. Good home ministry, hey?
Yes. Eventually, Griff, who was the detective that's following this case up, meets Elaine, and they start talking, and he invites her out for a horseback ride the next day, I think.
Yeah, he is smitten by her. Smith.
Yes. So they go for a horse ride. And then we see a medieval fair type thing going down.
Yeah.
And these were the witches that Elaine is
No, it was a setup. Yeah, I was reading into it later on. Yeah, it was a setup. Elaine knew her friends were there, and she went horsey riding with the guy and led him to where the fair was. Yeah.
Yes.
Aha.
And they decide to do a mock wedding of sorts, where where they do it in costumes and stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
She looks so nice, those gowns, hey?
Yeah, agreed.
He didn't look too bad, did he?
No, he cleaned up himself.
Yeah, not a bad policeman, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, he thought it was fun, and the next day, his associate, another detective, tells him that about the evidence that might incriminate our dear witch, and eventually another bit of evidence comes popping up when Trish goes unwelcome into Elaine's house, a room, and she starts trying on some of her makeup and whatever.
Oh no, actually, this is the part that gets me a little bit. Elaine's room was unlocked.
Yeah.
Trish walks in to drop off this rings and then leave. And then she's looking around and she sees the makeup. Says, well, I'm a bit dowdy. I might try some of the makeup on and see what it'll look like.
Yeah.
Then she puts on the wig. Then she says, oh, I like the clothes. She strips off and takes off everything she's got. She puts her bra and panties on and her clothes. I mean, who would do that? Honestly.
I never even try it on anyone else's.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go in there uninvited. It wasn't like she's invited to go in there. But even the underwear?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not questioning Anne at this point.
It works in the movie anyway.
So anyway, she finds a photo and some letters and some witchcraft stuff that hints that her husband was one of Elaine's targets.
And she realised she was the one
that got her husband killed. Commit suicide over.
He committed suicide over. Yeah.
Although Trish knew at the time that he was having an affair of sorts.
Yeah, didn't know who.
Yes.
It's always the ones you least expect. Like your best friend, you can't trust them, can you? No,
let's not go that far.
Well, it wasn't best
so
friends.
Anyway, she pretty much attacks Elaine and she leaves and says that you'll burn, all that stuff.
Yeah. Nasty.
Yes.
Shame.
Of course, later that night, I imagine the witch coven do a special binding ritual between
a
love spell between her and Griffith.
Yeah, Elaine and Griff. Yeah.
Yeah, meaning to make them official.
Try to make them come together. Well, she was coming together. Had to work inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eventually, later that night, he's at the bar. This bar we see 100 times in this movie.
It's really good.
And there's a lot of, what's the word? Burlesque?
A burlesque tour.
Yeah.
A burlesque strip show sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been to a few of those. I told Mike last night I went to a burlesque when I was doing doctor sketch classes, and they hired a few girls who did that sort of thing.
And a man.
And it's a lot of fun when you think about it.
Did you have a man there? You had to do?
No,
no man. Did you make a man, yours?
No, just women.
Okay, I thought you had a man. Yeah. I must have missed that one.
Anyway, it was pretty much a lot of fun when you look at it.
Anyway.
Elaine gets confronted by Griffith, and he tells her, I know you're a witch, and you have killed, say, two men already, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
he says something like, well, I didn't kill them, and there's no crime to practice witchcraft and yada, yada,
yada.
Yeah,
and he even tells her that she also killed another guy before she came out there. She had another was married, and she killed her ex-husband.
I don't think actually he used the word killed. He said you're responsible for the deaths of them. She said something like, you can't get me. I didn't kill him. I didn't do anything. He says, but I can get you in jail for burying the body of the guy at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Because that's against the law. Yeah, you died, then she went and buried the body.
Yeah, because that's. Well, she could have phoned a policeman,
somebody,
ambulance, and put it down as accidental, a heart attack or something.
Yeah, he didn't have a heart attack, but it's a drug-induced heart attack by this devil's weed stuff, which she put into his drink. Yeah,
she could have done it like that. Keep her name away from being accused.
Yeah, but she might have been a good witch, but she wasn't a smart witch.
No. So anyway, a few of the local bar people there start calling her a witch, and some of the males in the bar try to sexually assault her.
Oh yeah, a couple of them look like they're going to rape her too. Yeah, but we'll rape her before we burn her. Wait a minute. I mean, they could have left that part out, I think, because they're supposed to be killing her, not raping her. I don't think that part was right.
Yeah, so anyway, Griff steps in and tries to defend her, and they get into his police car and they drive away back to her apartment.
He's been beaten up a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's nursing him a little bit in her apartment.
Yeah, of course. He's a bit, I can't figure out what he's feeling there.
I think he is attracted to her.
Yeah.
But he knows there's something not quite right.
Yeah, I think.
And he wants to do his job because he's a dedicated policeman.
Yeah, I think he said that no matter how many spells Elaine will cast, Elaine will never be it won't. All men's love will never be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. Yeah. Anyway, come on.
Yes, and she feels this. She knows this.
She feels this rejection.
Yes, and then she eventually picks up
Dagger.
a dagger and and stabs him. And while she's stabbing, she has she hallucinates
Hallucinates. Yeah,
the previous guy she loved and liked.
Yeah.
And she even Griffin's face, who admits that he loves her and he wants to marry her. Even throughout this movie, she thought he was going to marry her.
Yeah, she thought he was the one. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we flash back.
In the cards or something.
And then we flash back to the medieval fair wedding.
With the mock wedding, and she's dreaming about that while she's sitting there with a bloody dagger.
Yeah.
And a dead policeman. And,
Yeah, we can only assume that she's going to get arrested. Although I did like...
Well, we'll presume she got arrested later on.
So that's the movie, and while it has an interesting ending, I do think that even if the ending is well, not what I expected, but the story feels like pretty much an awesome way to go.
Well, actually, when you look at her sitting there with the dagger in her hand, with Griff laying on the bed there, had been stabbed about 4 or 5 times in his chest. Looked just like the picture she'd been painting.
Yeah,
it was like a big tarot card type picture.
Yeah.
If the people in it looking like her and him, dressed in the clothes they had at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, the paintings I told you guys about.
Like big tarot cards.
Yeah, like there's a mixture of ones of Elaine and the men that she may have killed, and probably other stuff. Like other people we may have seen throughout the movie, that like the witches she associates with and all that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there was a few witches that she associates with and talks about magic, and they talk about all sorts of magic, not just love magic.
Yeah, I mean they're basically white practices white magic, but she wasn't doing black magic, but she wasn't using her white magic properly. How's that?
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to use magic. Yeah. Not that I'm experienced in this matter.
No, well, as far as I'm aware, the black magic's do Nordic conjurations and stuff, but the white magic, it's sort of like an out there naturopath. I mean, they're into herbs and stuff and natural healings, that sort of stuff, whereas the black magic do all Nordic stuff. And she's doing all the herbs and stuff like a white magician would. But she's using it for selfish ends. Yeah. And I think that's where the darkness comes into it.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I do like that the fact that has put all this work into this film project. She picked out the costumes, made sure it looked
done a lot of work.
Correct on it.
She's done heaps of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work too. Yeah. She worked really hard on it.
Now, I read somewhere there's a feminist theme going through this movie. Yeah, it's like feminine girl power, and I believe that Annabella is actually a feminist in her own way. And she's, I mean, that's not a nasty thing. That was portrayed in the movie a bit, which is fun. Well, it worked.
Yeah. Well, when I think about feminism, I keep thinking about that mistake they made with Charlie's Angels, the new one. I mean, where everyone, Elizabeth, I don't know her last name. The lady who did Charlie's Angels. She was
I don't know. I can't remember.
She was making her own version, and a lot of people have frowned upon it. Maybe it was bad timing. Maybe it was just.
Maybe she's a wannabe and just couldn't do it properly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't seen that movie.
I mean,
and I don't know who the lady is, but sometimes people have got a dream and they can't make it happen. How's that? Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'll leave it alone. Yeah. So anyway. So back to this movie. So I thought they captured feminism in this movie quite good when I think about this. I mean, they brought out the right actress to portray the love witch.
Yes, she had that.
Energy.
Had a look. Had that really look. That look, passionate, attractive. She was believable in the role. Yeah.
Yeah, if there is a
that's what you want.
If there was a reward for best lead actor portraying a feminist, I think she would probably win it hands down.
As you just mentioned something, Samantha Robinson was nominated for Best Actress for the 2017 Fangoria Chainsaw Awards for her performance as Elaine.
Ah, cool.
How's that grab you? So he was actually nominated as Best Actress.
That's great.
But actually going on to awards, The Love Witch won in a tie the Tailblazer Award and Best Costume Design at the Chicago Indie Critics Award.
Whoa, cool.
And also won the Michael Cimino Best Film Award for the American Independent Film Awards. The Dublin Film Critics Circle awarded Mr. Mullen Best Cinematography for The Love Witch. I think Emma Wills was nominated for the Technical Achievement Award for her hair and makeup on the film by London Film Critics Circle. Another one here in a New York Times editorial, it was mentioned that Anna Billa as worthy of receiving an Academy Award for the Best Original Screenplay. Now, all these awards, okay, and positive reviews, which all the reviews are positive. Why the hell didn't they give this movie a chance to be put through more theatres so people would actually see it? And these guys who run this distribution chains really need to look at their product a bit closer. This is a damn fine movie. Yeah, wouldn't suit everybody, but it's a damn fine movie with limited exposure.
Yeah, well, I have looked at, apart from Love Witch, there are other movies I've looked at over the years that had the same sexuality in the movies, and while they may have not, they also end up, not mainstreaming in big local theatres, but end up, either on television or
maybe art house theatres,
or not house theatre, with only a small amount of audience time.
I mean, I think it deserved more than art house. I mean, crikey! you get from a big multiplex cinema. Why don't you throw it in there and see what the response is? Yeah. You might surprise everybody. Hey, they might say, "Hey, this is a change."
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like going back in time.
Yeah.
I mean, back to a time when we would probably would wish to make these movies now.
Yeah, I mean, it had. Yeah, you look again. I guess back to the filming style keeps changing. Sarah did a movie just recently. She's in post production. We've mentioned a few times. She's tried to capture the early 50s film noir style of filming techniques, 3-point lighting, and whatever. And now this was the next level up in the 60s, 70s period, doing a slightly different style again, Technicolor, stark colours, and everything else. The cinematography style keeps changing, and it's good to see people embracing the old arts a bit.
And the mainstream stuff becomes more and more conservative.
And it's coming with a blur. There's nothing new coming out. I mean, another slasher film. Another war movie based on something that somebody else has done. Let's do another one. They're struggling for ideas, and these independent people come up for a good idea, and nobody wants
something new. Like what we've looked at so far. What we looked at in independent, we've seen Never Hike Alone. That has a
good movie.
It was a good movie, and they captured something there too in its own way.
We haven't done Chastity Bites, have we?
Not just yet, but I'm hoping to get around to it soon.
That's a fine movie. It's a name movie.
That's another one that went straight to DVD or video, or not. Well, DVD more than video.
So I don't understand some of these people who put the product out there in the theatres. They really need to sit back and have a look at the new stuff coming in, because they're losing out. I mean, they can make you a lot of money, and they can make a lot of money for the people putting the movies together.
True.
And get these new actors coming in and say, "Hey, look at me! I can do this," and they give them a chance to doing another movie.
Yeah, because there's only so many less icons to look up to these days.
I mean, once the George Lucases and the Steven Spielbergs and the Camerons and James Camerons and James Wan's. Who's left?
Yeah.
Well, Ridley Scott's still hanging around. Okay, fine, but it's not like the olden days. We had a lot of good studios.
Yeah, in the olden days,
lots of good movies out.
In the olden days, we often had go to actual plays and stages, and you meet the famous actors you may have known in there, and then they get used in the next movie, and then they make a name for themselves, stuff like that.
I know, but the industry's going a bit cold at the moment, I think. But anyway, irrespective, they need to sit back and look at the independents, because there are a lot of good independent movies coming out, and like this, and this movie falls in that category.
True.
But anyway,
so do you want to rate this movie?
Well, I just want to think what else we do. Anything else we can say about it, or I've had a word about the awards.
What about what's the how did the reviewers like Rotten Tomato feel about it?
I'm glad you asked. Because I hate Rotten Tomatoes.
Me too.
No, wait a minute. Only because generally it's based on 15 reviews. I mean, that's like, but this one here, on the review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes, drum roll, the film has an approval rating of 95% based on 109 reviews. Now that's a better, it's a better indicator. Not 20 or 15 or 10. 109, with an average rating of 7.72 out of 10. Wait a minute. The critical consensus reads, "The Love Witch offers an absorbing visual homage to a bygone era, arranged subtly in service of a thought-provoking meditation on the battle of the sexes." Now that's not a bad line.
Yeah,
I like
well,
that.
This movie is pretty much sort of focuses on.
Yeah, but normally Rotten Tomatoes really has scathing comments and stuff. But now on Meteoric, there's one. Metacritic. Sorry, can't read my own writing here. The film has a weighted average rating of 82 out of 100 based on 27 critics, indicating universal acclaim. The film is listed as a Metacritic must-see. In review for the New York Times, Miss Bella's movie, like its heroine, presents a fascinating, perfectly composed, brilliantly coloured surface. What's underneath is marvellously dark, like love itself. Love Witch is listed at number 41 on Rotten Tomatoes' list of the top 100 horror movies. And last but not least, it also made Rolling Stone's list of the top 10 horror movies of 2016.
Cool.
The New Yorker's list of the best movies of 2016 and IndieWire's list of the best movies of 2016.
Yeah.
So,
how are those odds, guys?
Everyone says it's great. So that's a change, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, most people say, well, not too bad, however, and we're going to vote that person the worst actor. No. Everything's positive. Again, this style of movie might not suit everybody, but if you want to give it a go, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, apart from, I like the how they shot it in the 60s a little bit. Unlike the difference is with our modern movies or the mainstream ones is that they're very detailed or crazy.
Well, sometimes it's hard to find a storyline in some of the new movies. It's either too complicated or non-existent. The filming techniques, they don't care too much. We'll do some in shadow, and you can't really see what's going on. But where this style of movie, everything is nice dark colours, you can see everything. That's not hidden. A bit like the 450 style movie where everything was black and white, but it was hard lighting, so you can actually see everything. Nowadays, it's that's what we can do. Make a nice ambience and everything. But what about the story?
Yeah, another thing about this movie, I know I say it in a lot of fan films, some of them. But I like the filters and the colours and the editing that Anne did on the final cut on it.
She's a brilliant lady.
Yeah, I mean, she used some interesting, vibrant colours like reds, blues, and
stark colours.
Stark colours, like a lot of RGB stuff. And I liked it when she did with the first guy. She did it with, that she used a bit of a vibrant rainbow type colours over the layering on it.
The lining of a jacket or dress had a rainbow material in it, and he was going through his hallucinogenic sort of bit there, and he was seeing rainbows anyway, and it was just too much for his senses to take in. He's going really weird. But yeah, it was great. It really took me back to that 60s style.
People are afraid of colour these days.
Oh, well, they're too conservative in some ways. And
I mean,
I'm not knocking new movies, folks. Please don't get me wrong. But I think they lost something over the past couple of decades.
People wouldn't object to putting a bit of pink or vibrant colours in a movie, but now it's all blur. Like people keep wearing
a soft palette. Is that a good word for it?
Yeah. Like some people would say, I must wear an outfit that fits in with your facial features or your eyes or stuff like that.
Well, this lady's colour coordinated. Literally, when she came, they should drive a red car, had a red dress on, had red luggage. Now, hello, and she had nice black hair, and everything went together.
Yeah.
But really stark contrast and everything. And that's, it was good. I mean, it won't work in every movie, but this, guys, you shouldn't go into a blurb just because, it's easier. I mean, I've seen black and white movies done years ago, and they've done a bit of colour here and there in it to make it look interesting. Or they used a coloured filter or something to create atmosphere or something. What's wrong with creating atmosphere using stark colours? Even some of the European movies over the decades, they use filters, red filters and yellow filters and blue filters, coming out of a doorway or something to create, it's hot and passionate, or it's mysterious. Or
another example I'll bring up to you guys, in one scene where we see at the beginning where she flashes back to the point of how her first husband dies in this.
Yes.
And there's a very interesting a bit of a red filter around it, like a circle. That made it look like you're zooming in onto the character's face, and you see this red line, meaning that it's death or creepy and stuff.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, a bit of what's the word for it?
Giving it a little bit of edge to your scene.
Exactly right. So hang on. I was getting rid of cough.
I just like that. It was just like it kind of made the scene when I think about it.
It's like a vignette, is that a word for it? Yeah, in photography, we had the fuzz around the outside. And the focus. A vignette, is it? Something? Yeah. Same sort of thing, highlights the centre of it, and everything else is just goes in the blurb, or you can use a colour or something. Just the centre of it's
so it
clear.
just created something. It's a
a
little hard to describe, but I just feel like it made the scene.
No, that guy didn't have a big part, did he?
No, apart from getting killed and
he had a drink of wine or something and fell on the floor.
And seeing a flashback of him and Elaine just enjoying life together a little bit, and hearing a bit of a voiceover commentary.
I don't think she killed him intentionally. I think he was going through the same thing with the love drugs and everything else, and she put too much of this devil's weed or whatever into it, and he just died. Yeah,
well, there's another bit of a comment. Like in one scene in the police station, one of the detectives said that she killed her ex-husband because he was going to fall for someone else, and I guess she poisoned him out of pure, jealousy or anger.
Well, no, I'll have to go back. What's it about? I missed that.
Yeah, well, it was in that scene where
he was having a nice drink.
Yeah, it was in the scene where Griffin objects to his.
Actually, that's one thing, because when Griff was there, Griffin, his name's Griff.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Griff.
Griffin is the flying cat. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, right.
He looks like Griffin.
He looks like Griffin. It's probably Griff is short for Griffin, but his name's Griff. The point is, she was going to give him a drink or something. I think it was a love potion to get him on her side. And he threw it on the floor because he had an idea. I think somewhere in his head he had an idea. Don't trust this woman anymore. Yeah. And so he threw the goblet of whatever onto the ground there, and she realised, this ain't going to be marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, and not. But then again, why did she lean back on the bed and just feel like, it's like that he wasn't aware that he was in a dangerous place in the world.
Yeah, no, that was weird. I mean, he's getting ready to take it to the police station. He lays back in the bed like he's having a sleep. Hello, man.
Yeah. Unless something, I often think that maybe, thing is that they did in the coven, the witch coven, they did a bit of a spell, love spell.
Yeah, love spell.
And maybe that took effect on him, and
maybe he had too much alcohol and got beaten up. That wouldn't help either. Yeah, okay, he wasn't the strip club having a few drinks, remember?
I'm only guessing that maybe that side of the spell may be taking effect. And unlike the other guys, she ended up taking a knife to Griff's.
Stab. Yeah, and I thought, whoa.
But then again, he was gonna, I don't know, arrest her and all that.
There's no real they said we found your DNA. That's it. Now, the only thing she's really done wrong that they can actually prove is that she buried Wayne's body at the beginning of the movie. There's no proof she killed her husband, James or whatever his name is, the first guy, which we never actually saw in the movie.
I think his name was
first guy.
Jerry.
Jerry. Now, he wasn't actually in the movie, just flashback to him, but he died from some sort of drug overdose. Wayne died of a heart attack, and she buried the body. She I panicked and buried the body. She probably could have got off with a slap on the wrist. She didn't kill him. There's those signs of anything else. There's this devil's weed stuff was going around that area. He could have been dabbling in drugs. So there's no real hard proof to put her in jail, but she was worried about going to jail, obviously. So she killed the policeman.
So,
anyway, I think it's about enough.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I probably will continue repeating myself what I like about this movie, and I do like it very much.
I must admit, though, I mean, the lady who played the lead role of Elaine, Samantha Robinson, I think really did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Looked the part, and that's what I like when they pick the right person to do a part, and she really suited the part of love. She was a very sexy, sultry, what's the word?
Eye candy.
Yeah, but there's nothing. She was somebody who's soft and gentle at the same time. It's like, I really want to be in a loving relationship. She came over a little bit too sickly sweet for my liking, but it's for the movie. And she came over. She had the dark and the light in her, in a character. Is that what you say that?
Yeah, I probably would say it. I'm only glad that they never didn't do this too modern when I think about this movie.
I mean, if the 60s feel gave it a bit more of an added dimension.
Psychedelic look.
Well, an added dimension. I mean, it's sort of capturing that nostalgia of that period. Today it'd be like another bass slasher film almost.
Yeah, it probably would not make sense if it was modern, because then people will just give it the dub would not. I'm not sure if they'll probably have the same idea if if it was done, say, in a modern time instead of 60s vibe.
So people change from decade to decade, generation to generation. So things were a bit different back in those days. So it may not have worked set in this decade. But setting it back in the 60s, difficult because that was a psychedelic era, and people were into Wicca and all those other good groovy things.
And not to mention, in those old movies, they had a mixture of horror and comedy in it. To give it a bit of a lightness to it.
Well, even before that, in the old film noir period, they had light and dark, had a comedy relief thrown in there to break the tension sometimes. Horror comedy and horror and comedy thrillers have always worked good. You got both ends of it, something to break the tension. Jump scare here, a laugh there, something else there, and a halfway decent screenplay makes a good movie. And I'm not saying it's a halfway decent screenplay. I think it's a good screenplay. But if you get everything comes together, you can get a damn fine movie.
True.
Anyway, I'm going to grade this now. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking about it all night.
Sorry, we keep grading. I mean, keep going on and on about it. But I think it is an awesome movie after all.
Now, I grade things, as you're well aware, in its own genre. This is an independent film. Okay? Now, compared to other independent films I have seen, this has got to be up there. I would I'd give it a 9. I wouldn't give it any higher because I mean there's always room for improvement. I saw one or two mistakes, which I won't go into. But gee, Anna Biller is someone to be watched. She's a very talented lady. So
for a talent.
She's a very talented lady. So I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I think that apart from things we observed in the movie, I do think that she really captured something that other people would miss out on.
She got magic. She's a bewitched. No. No,
so that she did capture something. She got made it the right theme, the right tempo to it.
The screenplay had a 60s feel to it. The filming work, the cinematography guy, whatever, I can't remember his name at the moment.
The music was great.
He captured that style of filming.
True.
And that's what you have to. They complement each other, and there was no loose end.
There was no. It didn't fight against it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was cohesive. That's a good word, isn't it? They worked together.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't work against each other. So yeah, that's why I liked. That's why I'm giving it a 9. Talent, technical side, everything was great. But 9's about. Yeah, well, go because I found a couple of imperfections which I won't go into. You find them.
Yeah. Yeah. So
give you something to look for.
Yeah. So, I hope you guys like this podcast episode, and if you haven't seen The Love Witch yet, be sure to check it out.
Is this available on DVD still? Oh, it should be. It's recent movie,
I think
isn't
it is.
Yeah.
So check it out, guys.
It's a new movie.
And do make your own thoughts on it, and let us know if you guys feel the same about this.
Yeah, drop share a line if you like the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
or at least leave a comment at the bottom of the review.
Good movie. Yeah, really good. Yes. Anyway, guys.
So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael Stephenson
saying, "See you around."
Bye, guys.